many of you watching have ever heard of Goog's Track? I have heard it called a mini Simpson Desert or a Simpson Desert training ground. Now, we certainly don't need Simpson Desert training, having crossed it 10 or so times by four-wheel drive and motorbike, but the Simpson definitely occupies a place near and dear to our hearts. Googs is only 20k or so out of Ceduna. We were in the area, we love desert travel, so why not? We left off last episode at Talia Caves, so let's pick it up there and check out the wool shed before heading west into Ceduna. And this is the wool shed. This is the entrance to it. So this is where the waves would come pounding in, and then they go up to that giant cavern where those two people are standing and carve that out. That's the back of the wool shed. Oh boy, if I was going to guess, that would be 20 meters high probably. There's some people standing there. That gives you an idea of the scale of this sucker. Very cool. There I go again. There goes Jill walking out the cave. We took a little side detour in a township called Venus Bay, and here we are, downtown Venus Bay.
It's not a sconce and floof town. It's bare bones.
What did you just say?
It's not a sconce and floof.
What the hell is a sconce and floof?
Fluffy, extra decorative, extraneous details.
And that was Venus Bay. A short 40k down the road was a really cool geographic feature we dropped in on. Hello, Jill.
Hi.
Oh, look, Murphy's Haystacks. Inselbergs, Island Mountains. This is the big sucker. I'll get Jill in here to get a little bit of perspective in terms of the size, but whoo-wee, she's a monster. It's actually concave as well, which is very neat. See, I didn't say cool. But this little guy here standing on his own, he's cool. There's Jill in there for some perspective on size. I like this little pancake. Bay just off to the left of us, and we are traveling out to Point Labatt, where apparently there's a seal colony or a sea lion colony or something like that. But that's open ocean, and it's a really long inlet, about 20 kilometers long probably. And it is sea lions, I've confirmed, because I read it on a sign. I must say the dirt roads in South Australia are absolutely beautiful. I don't know whether it's the surface material that they use or whether they're maintained, but whatever it is, they're 10 out of 10. That was the Point Labatt sea lion colony. We're now back on the trail heading towards Streaky Bay.
Stay tuned for Terry streaking.
No. We are now entering the little hamlet of Streaky Bay. And yes, I still have my clothes on. It's a cute looking little town.
I like the big wide main street.
I like the old Adelaide brick buildings.
Yeah, the South Australia.
Yeah, South Australia brick buildings. Got a Ray White, a petrol station.
Really nice clothing shop. News agent.
Foodland over here.
Servo. Liquor Legends.
Streaky Bay Hotel. I like it. Very tidy.
Police station, hospital, an IGA. It's got 2 supermarkets.
It's got an institute.
Better electrical. Hair salon.
Bakery.
Another bottle shop.
Beauty shop.
Pizza.
Bank.
Another servo.
Looks like Streaky Bay's got it all. Is that a coffee van? No, a fish and chips van. Cool. Well, we didn't stop at Streaky Bay, but I rated it. Looked pretty good.
Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Very quiet.
We're turning into Perluby Beach camping area, which is apparently some really, really good beach camping. I feel as though it probably won't be for us. South Australia is really good at signposting these beach camps off the main highway, and they're very, very popular, as I'm sure we're going to see very shortly. You know, it's a popular campground when you got all these bins at the entrance. And it looks like we got the beach in front of us.
Look at that watercolor change.
It's incredible, isn't it? There's a map of the campground. We're obviously here. Rubbish toilets and tents down to the left of us. These are sort of day use shelter areas for each of the camp zones. And there is the camping down on the beach. Caravan after caravan after caravan after caravan. It's a stunning looking beach, but for Jill and I, way too many people. We leave our caravanning compatriots at Perluby and all areas easily accessible, and in less than 100 kilometers distant, we find ourselves remote and alone. Well, here we are at the start of the Googs track. One of those bucket list items that I've been wanting to do for quite some time now. The friendly flies are here, and we're airing the tires down. And we're heading from a south to a north direction. Just a quick note on tire pressures. It's probably a subject matter that's been overdone quite a bit. First of all, why do you drop your tire pressures? Well, you've got to maximize your footprint on the ground. Let me get a stick here to demonstrate. What some people think is that you're actually trying to bag the tire out. Well, that's not exactly what you're trying to do. What you're doing is you're trying to lengthen the contact patch on the ground. So you want to turn your car from something like a normal wheel into a tank track. So the longer that contact pattern is, the better. Your sidewalls will bag out, of course, when you let your tire pressures down, but it's all about the length of that contact pattern. And different vehicles and different tires will have different tire pressure needs. With these BFGs, I drop them down to about 17 or 18 pounds in soft sand. You can go lower if you have to, of course, but that's a good starting point for us. There we go, that's 16 pounds cold. That'll jump up to probably 18 once they get warm. We'll start there. I'm still at the start of the Googs track airing down, and I'm just walking around killing time as the tires are going down. And I found that, a geocache at the base of this tree at the start of the Googs. The kids Jill and I used to do geocaching when they were younger. Looks like the last group out on the track that have signed this geocache anyway. We're here on the 15th of January this year. We've signed it. We'll drop a Jafffa sticker in this geocache as well, so if somebody comes along and wants to score a sticker, you know where to find it. And there she is. Bloody march flies out here too. Unbelievable. So you get regular flies and march flies. Awesome. Well, 500 meters after the bush gate, we have another gate, and this is the actual gate into the conservation park itself. And there's the vermin-proof fence. I think it's the longest man-made structure in the world. Just past the dog fence, there's this little information hut. This is not a track to be taken lightly, that's for sure. Although it's only short, it is very, very remote. From a communications perspective, we have our Starlink satellite. We've also got a satellite phone, and we've got an EPIRB, a personal locator beacon. So there's 3 rounds of redundancy for communications. Okay, just past the dog fence, and I think this is probably where the track proper starts. There are fresh wheel tracks in front of us. In terms of communication, they say get onto UHF channel 18, which we are now on. And as soon as we hit some sand country, I'll pop a flag up. The reason I don't want to do it beforehand is I suspect we're going to be running into some low-hanging trees, and I just don't want to rip off my makeshift flag.
Getting drag raced by a giant fly. Honestly, it was huge beside my window here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just forgot our sand flag at home, so I'll have to make one up with a bit of stick and a red rag or something. Got a pretty deep little hole. What creates a hole like this in the middle of nowhere? Just zoink. I wonder whether a little bit of water got on it, and then people coming through at speed start splashing the water and the mud out onto the side of the track, and then just over time, that process repeats itself, and we got ourselves a hole. I think that's it. I think I solved the secret of the universe. Pretty narrow track here at the moment. I think it's time to pull our mirrors in, hun. That just gives us a little bit skinnier profile. Party of 1 traveling the Googs track in a northerly direction, about 1 kilometer north of the vermin-proof fence. Call out on the radio every now and then just to let any traffic, oncoming traffic, know that we're out here, but not too frequently that it annoys the shit out of people. We've met a lot of Karens and Keiths on the Simpson Desert that just don't shut up over every single sand dune. We are just starting to get into a couple of sand dunes. They're still hard packed underfoot, so I don't think we've got into the proper ones yet, but they are definitely sand ridges. Here's one of those sand dunes I was talking about. There you go. Yeah, that's getting some size to it. Well, silly me, forgot to pack my sand flag. So, I'm going to make one out of a little bit of mallee, which is a sort of multi-branched eucalypt. It's found all over the place here. A bit of duct tape and a colored rag. We've just started to enter the sand country now. I think it's highly unlikely we'll meet somebody, but it is possible. So that being the case, let's do the right thing. Goog's track is 120 kilometers of four-wheel drive only road traversing part of the Yellowbina Conservation Park. It's a popular adventure trek for four-wheel drive enthusiasts, crossing 363 east-west running sand dunes, and is often compared to a mini Simpson crossing. Goog's widow, Jenny Denton, has penned her memoirs detailing the making of the track, filled with humor and the trials and tribulations of their 4 years road building. He always referred to Jenny as mother and would often sit on the veranda at their farm, Lone Oak, and gaze out into the never-ending bush beyond, the northern boundary of their farm, and say, "I wonder what's out there, Mother." One more about here, I think will do us. All right, I got myself a bright pink rag, a few zip ties, and let's see if we can't make ourselves a flag. I'll tell you, the march flies are nasty. They're bloody nailing me. I wouldn't have thought you'd get march flies out in the desert like this, but there you go. It is March, I guess. He sets about finding out and successfully pushed a track through, completing it in 1976. Along the way, they discovered all sorts of spectacular natural formations, which have been and continue to be visited and enjoyed by hundreds of people. And we're one of them. Here we go. Finished. That'll get us out of trouble. Not too shabby for a bush fix. Here we go. We've got a sand flag now. It's not the most elegant in the world, but it's functional. Look at that. We didn't even crash into somebody. It works. Got a proper drifted sand dune here. Well, we got Jilly in the driver's seat at the moment. How's it going, hon?
Yeah, good.
How would you compare it to the Simpson Desert? Because they do say it's like a little Simpson.
It's little. It's like popping over the tops of little dunes at the moment. Like you come and you go, ooh, this looks like it's going to be a good one. Then you drop 5 feet over the other side.
Yeah, it's much smaller scale than the Simpson, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more vegetated. The Simpson's got vegetation, but this is like mallee everywhere.
Yeah, there's real spin effects.
There is, yeah.
It's pretty nonetheless.
It is.
And if you hadn't done the Simpson, you wouldn't even know.
No, you wouldn't, exactly. Like if you were gonna do the Simpson, this is not a bad little training ground.
No.
It's just so freaking far away from everything, which in its own right is a nice thing because you are so isolated out here.
Yeah.
We haven't seen another soul yet. We've only been driving for half the day. But if you're out in the Simpson Desert, you would have met up with 10 cars by now.
And heard radio chatter.
Yes, absolutely. Our next stop is going to be at the Goog's Track Waterhole, which looks like it's about maybe 2 or 3 kilometers away. So we'll check in then. And Goog was the first person to see these, he believes, since they were used by the Aboriginals as a source of water. And it looks like it's just little depressions in like a granite bowl almost. Lots of kangaroo shit around here, so they use it as a water source. Bone in that one. Bone dry. This is the big one. That's a big bone in that sucker. A camel bone or something. Cool. If you were an Aboriginal and you found it, how would you communicate where it is to people and how would you get back to it? Yeah, that looks like emu poo, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Full of seeds. Mm-hmm. Oh look, I think that's a thorny devil in the track. Look what we found on the track. A little thorny devil. Isn't it beautiful? Lovely colors. Hello, little guy.
I'll put my hand down near him for a size comparison. He's little. Very, very cute.
There's a small little track just before the Googs Lake turnoff that indicates a runway. So we've just come back here to have a look at it. I can't imagine a runway in this scrub here, but there you go. Yeah, I think that runway is long overgrown because there's no signs of it. Maybe if the drone was up in the air, you might be able to see something cut, but certainly can't see it from the ground. That's a bush of consequence. Well, we've continued on that track past that abandoned runway. It is actually marked on Explore Oz, or Oz Explorer, and it's a reasonably well-defined track, despite the fact that I just had to get out and cut that branch. And it's heading towards the lake, so we're going to continue along it until we get to the lake and have a squiz. We are not too very far from Goog's Lake. It is in about the 11 o'clock position. Looks like it's over a sand dune or two, judging by our map.
What are the chances there's actually water in it?
I'm gonna go 0.
Me too.
Well, according to our map, the lake is just over top of this dune here. So Jill and I are taking a little bit of a walk over to it. Pop over the edge of this dune and have a look. Jill's picking spinifex out of her shoes, and I should be doing that too, but I'm grinning and bearing it at the moment. It's pretty cool having the map to identify this, because without it, you would never know that there was a lake over top of this little rise. Very cool. Wow. That is awesome. We're on an abandoned little track that hasn't been used in a long time. Searching for a lunch spot, and I think we've jagged one right on the shore of this little tiny lake. A pond. A golden pond. We are going to have lunch on Golden Pond. Jill and I just sitting down having lunch at the moment beside one of these dried lakes in this Goog Lakes complex. So the big one I think is called Goog Lake, but there's a whole bunch of little ones everywhere. And this is one of the little ones. And what an amazing little camp / picnic spot, hey hun?
Yeah, I named this lake Baby Googer.
Baby Googer. That's a Baby Googer Lake. We had to take a track that hadn't been used in a long, long time and had to do a little bit of bush bashing to get here. But that just goes to prove that that persistence will get you to these places that others don't. We've left our little lunch spot and we're continuing down this track which runs in an east-west direction. We're traveling east and it does dead end by the looks of it on the map, but we'll follow it to the end and see what we can see. A little voyage of discovery. According to our map, we're coming up to a bay, quite a large bay on Googs Lake proper. And then we're going to be skirting between Googs Lake and a whole bunch of these little tinier offshoot lakes. Actually quite large trees down here, and there's some sort of a conifer, like a pine of some description. That's a lake on our right, and on our left we should see the bay. Yeah, there's a little side diversion track to check the bay out. This is kind of cool. We are on an Exmouth. People have camped here before, and I can see why. Some idiots have been doing circle work out on the lake. We're very nearing the end of this track according to our map, and it's getting more and more grown over, so you can tell that less and less people have been coming out here. I don't know when the last time this track's been driven on, but it isn't this year. I think that's the end of the line, hun.
I think so too.
Well, there's the end of our track, and here is the lake down at the bottom of these dunes, and they're quite high dunes. They'd be a good 10 meters. Beautiful and pristine, and no numbnuts doing circle work down there. So we're going to spin around here, make our way back, and find ourselves a camp. Woo-wee! Have a look at that. That is pretty as a picture, but it's a video. We're heading back towards our camp. This is one of those smaller lakes in the Goog Lake complex. Love it. If you're scared of pinstriping, you wouldn't want to go down this track. I'm pretty sure it is unavoidable. There's Jill out for a walk on Googs Lake. Not too far off from sunset now, probably only another hour. Hopefully we get a good one.
Fly on my hand. It's not on my face because I'm in the wind, but they are pretty
As the sun set and the flies went to bed, the colors of the desert came alive. Sit back with us and enjoy the show.